And I just want to start by stating that we've just concluded our big trade deal with Japan and numerous other countries in addition, as you know. But on the Japan deal, because it was literally just signed, letter was just signed, it gives us a sort of signing bonus. So I'll bring it into sports talk, a signing bonus. Like you have signing bonuses too, I understand. Getting a lot of money, 100 million, that's not bad. But that's not as good as the signing bonus we got. We got a $550 billion signing bonus for the country. And we had the tariff at 25%. As you know, we had a tariff at 25%. And these are great people that we negotiated with, but we agreed to reduce it to 15 based on the fact that Japan has agreed for the first time ever to open up its country to trade so that all of our American businesses and business geniuses, including many in this room, can go out and do business openly and freely in Japan, a very rich and prosperous and profitable and wonderful country, frankly. And we will pay a zero tariff as we do business in Japan. So we're paying zero, they're paying 15. We're getting $550 billion. And to be exact, it's 90% of that, but we control the whole lot of it. And it's really been great. And they're very happy, and their stock market went up, and our stock market went up. And we've made numerous other deals like that. But the opening up of a country is very important to us. We have numerous countries that have opened their doors, just made some incredible transactions, but we're going to have a very, very simple tariff for some of the countries. We have so many countries, you can't negotiate deals with everyone, so we'll have a straight, simple tariff of anywhere between 15 and 50%. A couple we have 15 because we haven't been getting along with those countries too well, so we just say, let's pay 50, and that's the way it is. But remember, we get countries that were closed, always closed. Everyone in this room would never remember any of them to be open. We've offered such a deal to the European Union, where we're in serious negotiations, and if they agree to open up the union to American businesses, then we will let them pay a lower tariff. So the tariff is very important, but the opening of a country, I think, can be more important if our businesses do the job that they're supposed to. We also made a deal yesterday with the Philippines and Indonesia, which in both cases will be opening up their country. And we're in the process of completing our deal with China. And as you know, the UK, we made a deal. It was a very good deal for everybody. Everybody's happy. It's always nice when everybody can be happy. But mostly we'll be charging straight tariffs to most of the rest of the world because we have over 200 countries. People don't realize that's a lot of deals. Even if you're like me, a deal junkie, that's a lot of deals. That would be too much for anybody. Ooh. How did we do with this country that I never heard of? We got a lot of deals cooking. But America is taking in hundreds of billions of dollars like it never has before. Investments into our country at the highest point ever in history. And we've just really been opened up for business for 3 of the 6 months. I did that podcast a year and a half ago, and I said, this is something, it was pretty new, pretty raw. Everybody I knew saw that podcast. I said, well, he's got something pretty good. Who is that guy? He's a smart guy, by the way. I think if I ever get in, which at the time people were saying I had a shot, not as good a shot as it turned out. We won in numbers that nobody believes. We won every swing state. We won by millions and millions of votes, winning the popular vote. We won with the districts, as they would call them, 2,750 to 505. And that's why the map is almost completely red, except for a couple of little blue areas on each side of it. But it was a great experience, frankly, for me, and hopefully it's a great experience and been a great experience for our country, because they're saying we had the greatest 6 months that a president has ever had, the opening 6 months. And I'm not even sure, maybe 6 months. I'm not sure it's the opening, but let's call it the opening 6 months. It sounds a little bit nicer. Thanks as well to the Hill and Valley Forum and our future Undersecretary of State, Jacob Hellberg. Good work. Good. Stand up, Jason. Good. I met him a year and a half ago, and I was very impressed. I said, let's bring him in. We bring in a lot of smart people. And David's been unbelievable as the job he's doing. Along with Secretaries Doug Burgum, who's been incredible. Doug? Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Great job. He's producing low-cost energy. We're down to $64. I want to get it down a little bit further if we can. I don't know if the oil companies love that or not, but we want to have very inexpensive electricity so that you can power up the plants, because you need more electricity than any human beings ever in the history of the world. When I heard what you really need, I said, you got to be kidding. Double what we produce right now for everything, right? I don't know, Jensen, you're going to have to explain that to me someday, why they need so damn much. Could you do with a little bit less? My father always used to say, turn off the lights, son. But you guys are turning up the lights. And a very special thanks to some of the top industry leaders here, including somebody that's amazing. I said, look, we'll break this guy up. This is before I learned the facts of life. I said, we'll break him up. They said, don't say, it's very hard. I said, why? I said, what percentages of the market does he have? Sir, he has 100%. I said, who the hell is he? What's his name? His name is Jensen Huang, NVIDIA. I said, what the hell is NVIDIA? I've never heard of it before. He said, you don't want to know about it, sir. I figured we could go in and we could sort of break him up a little bit, get him a little competition. And I found out it's not easy in that business. I said, supposing we put the greatest minds together and they work hand in hand for a couple of years. He said, no, it would take at least 10 years to catch him if he ran NVIDIA totally incompetently from now on. So I said, all right, let's go on to the next one. And then I got to know Jensen, and now I see why. Jensen, will you stand up? What a job. What a job you've done. Man. Great. He's a great guy, too. Sanakar of Palantir. We buy a lot of things from Palantir. Where are you? Are we paying our bills? I think so. We just made a deal with the European Union where they're going to pay the United States of America 100% of the cost of all military equipment. They're going to ship it to the European Union, and then they'll distribute it, and much of it will go to Ukraine. It's been a long time since you've heard those words, because we're in for $350 billion. But now we send it to Europe, and Europe pays, and they were great. We had a tremendous NATO meeting a few weeks ago, and it was pretty amazing, actually, what happened. They agreed to go from 2% to 5%, and they had 2% where they didn't pay. They have 5% where they've already paid. That's a big difference. That's trillions of dollars, actually, trillions. But they're going to spend that money in the United States with our defense companies, and we're going to send it to them, and they'll distribute the equipment that we send. So that's the way it should have been 3 years ago, frankly. And as we gather this afternoon, we're still in the earliest days of one of the most important technological revolutions in the history of the world. Around the globe, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence. I find that too. Artificial, I can't stand it. I don't even like the name. You know, I don't like anything that's artificial. So could we straighten that out, please? We should change the name. I actually mean that. I don't like the name artificial anything, because it's not artificial. It's genius. It's pure genius. And its potential to transform every type of human endeavor and domain of human knowledge, from medicine to manufacturing to warfare and national defense. Whether we like it or not, we're suddenly engaged in a fast-paced competition to build and define this groundbreaking technology that will determine so much about the future of civilization itself, because of the genius and creativity of Silicon Valley. And it is incredible. incredible genius. Without question, the most brilliant place anywhere on earth. America is the country that started the AI race. And as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard. We're going to win it. Because we will not allow any foreign nation to beat us. But what we really need to be successful is a very simple phrase called common sense. And that begins with a common sense application of artificial and intellectual property rules. It's so important. You can't be expected to have a successful AI program when every single article, book, or anything else that you've read or studied, you're supposed to pay for. Gee, I read a book, I'm supposed to pay somebody. And you know, we appreciate that, but you just can't do it because it's not doable. And if you're going to try and do that, you're not going to have a successful program. I think most of the people in the room know what I mean. When a person reads a book or an article, you've gained great knowledge. That does not mean that you're violating copyright laws or have to make deals with every content provider. And that's a big thing that you're working on right now, I know, but you just can't do it. China's not doing it, and if you're going to be beating China, and right now we're leading China very substantially in AI, very, very substantially, and nobody's seen the amount of work that's going to be bursting upon the scene, but you have to be able to play by the same set of rules. So we also have to have a single federal standard, not 50 different states regulating this industry of the future. And some people would say, gee, that's an unpopular thing to say. I was told before I got up here, this is an unpopular thing because some people, they don't want that. But I want you to be successful. And you can't have one state holding you up. You can't have 3 or 4 states holding you up. You can't have a state with standards that are so high that it's going to hold you up. You have to have a federal rule and regulation. Hopefully you'll have the right guy in this position that's going to supplant the states. If you are operating under 50 different sets of state laws, the most restrictive state of all will be the one that rules. So you could have a state run by a crazy governor, a governor that hates you, a governor that's not smart, or maybe a governor that's very smart, but decides that he doesn't like the industry and he can put you out of business because you're going to have to go to that lowest common denominator. We need one common sense federal standard that supersedes all states, supersedes everybody, so you don't end up in litigation with 43 states at one time. It will challenge us to marshal all of our strength and flex the muscles of American ingenuity and resolve like probably never before. It will require us to blast through obsolete systems, cut through thickets of regulation. We've got to get rid of some of the regulation, but we want good regulation and rebuild the industrial bedrock of our country. And perhaps most importantly, winning the AI race will demand a new spirit of patriotism and national loyalty in Silicon Valley and long beyond Silicon Valley. For too long, much of our tech industry pursued a radical globalism that left millions of Americans feeling distrustful and betrayed. And you know that. Everybody knows that. Everybody in this room certainly does. Many of our largest tech companies have reaped the blessings of American freedom while building their factories in China, hiring workers in India, and slashing profits in Ireland. You know that? All the while dismissing and even censoring their fellow citizens right here at home. Under President Trump, those days are over. To partner with our tech geniuses in achieving this vision today, we're releasing the White House AI Action Plan. Big stuff. We're signing it right after this. In fact, I see it sitting right there. Maybe I should just sign it right now. Who the hell has to make the rest of this speech, right? But here are the pillars of the strategy. First, my administration will use every tool at our disposal to ensure that the United States can build and maintain the largest, most powerful, and most advanced AI infrastructure anywhere on the planet. America needs new data centers, new semiconductor and chip manufacturing facilities, new power plants and transmission lines. And under my leadership, we're going to get that job done, and it's going to be done with certainty and with environmental protection and all of the things that we have to do to get it done properly. Earlier this month, we also enacted the largest tax cuts in American history when I signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law. And I think the most important thing in the whole tax cut in terms of pure economics, and I think one of the reasons that my first, we had the most successful economy in history during my first term, and I think this is going to blow it away. So far it is, and I think this is going to blow it away. But the reason we had was I had expensing at 100%. And what we did is we included 100% in this bill, expensing for all capital expenditures, including investments in factories and equipment and structure. Structure wasn't included last time, so even structure, and you're able to write it all off immediately. That's the biggest thing, not 38 years, not 42 years. You're able to write it all off immediately. And this time, we've made it for 10 years, not for 1 year. We've made it for 10 years, so you have a much longer period. My administration is also pursuing a future of all-out American energy dominance, and on day one, I terminated the Green New Scam. You know what that was? You were all victims to it. Perhaps the second or third greatest scam in the history of our country. I would say the first was Russia, 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 and we had a couple of others too. But the Green New Scam was one of the greatest. It's so ridiculous what they've made you do. The carbon footprint. They talked about the carbon footprint, and then Obama hops onto a 747 Air Force One and flies to Hawaii to play a round of golf and comes back. What about the carbon footprint? No, we didn't like that. And what Biden has done is absolutely terrible. He made it impossible, almost impossible for people to do business, not even talking about the border, where millions and millions of people flowed into our country, many from prisons, from jails, from gangs, from mental institutions all over the world. No, we're not doing that. We have to get them out. We've got 11,888 murderers. Many of them committed more than one murder. Many of them, more than 50%, committed more murders. We're getting them out of our country, or in some cases, they're so bad, we're not getting them out. We're having to lock them up because we don't want them ever to come back, no matter how good we're doing. Last month, you probably read, we had 0 people enter our country illegally. And over the last number of years, you'd have hundreds of thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of people a week pour into our country, totally unvetted and unchecked. And what the hell were they thinking? What they've done to our country is so sad, and we can never forget it. But we're unleashing all forms of energy, including natural gas, oil, and clean, beautiful coal. I instructed my people, in the form of Chris and Doug in particular, you are not allowed to say the word coal without saying clean, beautiful in front of it. You can only say clean, beautiful coal. It's a little embarrassing because we had somebody making a speech the other day, right? And he mentioned the word coal about 30 times because that was the subject. And he kept going clean, beautiful. I wanted to say, okay, just take it easy. You could just, got a little bit crazy, right, Doug? But it's, China's using it. They're building now 57 big power plants, all fueled by coal. And we have to compete, we have to win, and we're going to have clean, beautiful coal. But we have more coal than we have more anything in terms of energy than anybody. Oil and gas, we also have more coal. In May, I also signed an executive order to rapidly begin construction of safe, reliable nuclear reactors. That's a big thing now. And many of you are going to be using nuclear. I had problems with nuclear. I saw some of the things, but what they've done with nuclear is like what you've done with AI and other things. It's incredible, actually. It's long-term, it's inexpensive, it's safe. What they've done is really amazing. So we opened up the industry, very strict rules, but we opened up the industry, and some of you are going to choose nuclear over oil and gas or whatever it might be. As a result of these pro-American policies since my election, we're seeing trillions and trillions of in new investments. So at this moment, we have almost $17 trillion coming into this country. There's never been a period of time like that. And that's in a period of a few months. In a few months, Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft are all investing $320 billion or more in data centers and AI infrastructure this year. Those companies are really, they're really going at it, and they're very smart people, very good people. I got to know a lot of them. You know, I didn't like them so much the first term when I was running. I wouldn't say I was thrilled with them, but I've gotten to know them and like them. And I think they got to like me, but I think they got to like my policies maybe much more than me. NVIDIA has committed $500 billion over the next 4 years. Thank you, Jensen. I'm sure that'll be a good investment. If you're doing it, it's good. Thank you very much. It's a great statement. Last week, I was in Pennsylvania as 20 companies announced $92 billion with David McCormick, senator, great guy from Pennsylvania. $92 billion in energy and data center projects, including what will soon be the largest natural gas power plant anywhere in North America. They're going to town. For decades, we had leaders who spent their time focused on building up foreign nations. Under the Trump administration, we are going to have leaders who are going to build up our nation. This colossal investment in AI infrastructure and many other industries, for that matter, such as automobiles and so many other things, will also create thousands and thousands of great-paying jobs, the kind of jobs we want, including lots of blue-collar jobs. And, you know, our numbers are very good right now, but wait till you see these numbers in 2 years from now. It will mean higher wages and more opportunity for millions of energy workers, HVAC technicians, engineers, electricians, and the hardworking citizens who make our country run. These are great people that make our country actually run. To ensure America maintains the world-class infrastructure we need to win today, I will sign a sweeping executive order to fast-track federal permitting, streamline reviews, and do everything possible to expedite construction of all major AI infrastructure projects. And this will be done. You will get so good a service in so many ways, not only from Lee with the environment, but you need many other types of permits, and you're going to go so fast. You're going to say, well, wait a minute, this is too fast. I didn't expect to go this quickly. This is a problem. I may cause a problem in opposite, but including factories, data centers, and power plants of all kinds, the United States will have total industrial and technological supremacy. The second pillar of our action plan for AI dominance is to get the entire world running on the backbone of American technology, and I think that's very much happening right now, and I think it's going to happen. The last administration was obsessed with imposing restrictions on AI, including extreme restrictions on its exports. As you know, they made it very difficult to export. This alienated American partners and drove even our friends into the arms of China and other countries. That's why upon taking office, I repealed the so-called Biden diffusion rule. Can you imagine that? That crippled American AI exports, the Biden diffusion rule. I wonder who came up with that name, because he has no idea what it is. He had no idea what it was. He came up with a rule. I wonder who drew that one. I wonder, was that signed by the auto pen, I think, because they went to him and said, we're going to do a diffusion rule. Mr. President, what? It's okay, the auto pen will take care of it. It's one of the greatest scandals in the history of our country. When I traveled to the Middle East in May, every leader I met was thrilled to do business with American tech firms and with America, and they were all thrilled to meet me, believe it or not. It's hard to believe, isn't it? But they were. By the way, most powerful woman in the world is here today. Susie Wiles, stand up, please. Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff. She can take out a country with a mere phone call. No, they just voted her the most powerful woman anywhere in the world. She might be the most powerful person in the world, I think. But she's done hasn't she done a good job, though, huh? Good. But we're going to come home with trillions and trillions of dollars in deals, and that's the way it is. But the King of Saudi Arabia met three great leaders. I went to three countries predominantly. King of Saudi Arabia said, and I can say that Qatar and UAE, the leaders brilliant guys, great people. They said the same thing. They said, you know what? That 1 year ago, your country was dead. It was a dead country. They were looking at China. They were looking at other places, but you had a dead country. And today, Mr. President, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. They said that, and they meant it so strongly. And when I went to NATO 2 weeks ago, where we made the deal where they pay 5% instead of 2%, they said the same exact thing. They said, boy, I tell you what a difference it is. It's a year ago, you people were dead. We didn't think you were going to make it as a country. Today, you're the hottest country in the world. They all said it. All those leaders said it, 30 of them. And third, once and for all, we are getting rid of woke. Is that okay? Because I know you had to hire all woke people. I heard you had to hire all woke people under some of these things. How about the chips, where they give you the chip nonsense, where they give you billions of dollars if you only build a chip company? These people have plenty of money. They don't need the money. They need the permits. They need the rights to do it. They don't want to pay tariffs, so they come and they build here. That's why they're coming here. Number one, they like me, but they like not having to pay tariffs even more. And they're coming. But Biden gave billions of dollars to companies that have nothing but cash. And they don't say where to build. It's just give them money. But here's the problem. They have to hire lots of woke people. And they say woke isn't for this particular industry. We've noticed that. They're not for a lot of industries, if you want to know the truth. So the guidelines were impossible. They're going to give you money, but you got to hire this and this and this and that. And I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want any controversy today. But you have to hire a lot of people that were not into this particular world that you're in. And so therefore, all the money they gave didn't mean a damn thing. One of Biden's worst executive orders established toxic diversity, equity, and inclusion ideology as a guiding principle of American AI development. So you immediately knew that was the end of your development. But the American people do not want woke Marxist lunacy in the AI models, and neither do other countries. They don't want it. They don't want anything to do with it. That's why on day one, I very proudly terminated Joe Biden's order on woke AI effective immediately. You don't have any of those crazy rules. Crazy rule. And in just a moment, I will be signing an order banning the federal government from procuring AI technology that has been infused with partisan bias or ideological agendas such as critical race theory, which is ridiculous. And from now on, the U.S. government will deal only with AI that pursues truth, fairness, and strict impartiality. We're not going to go through the craziness that we've gone through for the last 4 years. And then we skip 4, and then you go back, and it started then. But it hung around a little while. Now it's not hanging around at all. Now it's actually very uncool, as somebody told me the other day. It's so uncool to be woke. But as an example, we are not going to allow men to play in women's sports. That's an example. That's one. And they say that's an 80-20 number. They say 80% would be against it. No, it's not 80-20. It's about 97-3. And I don't know who the 3 are. I've never seen anybody. I've never had a person. I've seen everybody. I'm a very open person. They come up to me and they talk to me. I've never had anybody come up, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. I've never had it. I deal with hundreds of thousands of people. Every time I talk to somebody, they talk about AI, they talk about everything, but they've never said, you got to allow, this is ridiculous. Men should be allowed to play in women's sports. It's sort of crazy, isn't it, huh? You have to see, did you see the race? It was a race, a long-distance marathon, one of those all-day deals, and we had one of the great female runners, and we had one of the great male runners, and at the end of the day, he won the race by 5 hours and 14 seconds. They waited around for the really good athlete female. It's very demeaning to women, I want to tell you that, but they waited, her parents were waiting for hours. Somebody said, why don't you go back to the hotel and sleep for a few hours and come back and meet your daughter? This is what they do. You got to see the weightlifting records, though. They're the best of all. A woman lifted 212 pounds. It was a world record. It held for 18 years. And now a man who transitioned came up and looked at the bar. How much is it? 212 pounds. Oh, let me try it. Bing, bong. I think he broke the record by 109 pounds. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time before a woman catches that. And these are great athletes and great people, and it's demeaning. And who the hell wants this? We're off of that whole standard, because I just tell you those as examples.